Hey Satch King, hey DJ. I'm like so nervous. How are you guys doing? Oh, that's a cool teacup. I'm like, if I just put up the like, just the still image and just hang out here, then maybe like an hour will go by and then I won't have to actually like do anything. Ready to learn? Well, I have stuff set up. And I have like a checklist. I'm like, I have stuff that I can go over everything in StreamElements, and then I also have stuff about like how if you want to like make your own layout and you want to like design it to like match your branding or like what you want to do, then you can do that. You could do that too. Oh, check it out. Okay. But I'm here. I have a thing. I know that doesn't look impressive, but it will be. Sorry, I got my music. I need music. It calms the chaos in my soul. Feeling a bit better at the moment. Hope all is well with you, as well as everyone else. All same. Have you heard of the High Elves? Hello, punk. Alright. So, do you guys want me to just get started? I can just get started. I can just hit record and then we can just get going. You know what I mean? Do you guys want me to start with StreamElements? Cause I can do that. Notice I have my painting behind me for like emotional support, like it's an actual person that's like gonna actually like stand there and like be like, you're doing great. I have display capture turned on so I can show you guys, because I figured I'd start with StreamElements and sort of like how I get stuff started in there, and then and there's like a few different programs that I'm gonna like go through that I probably need to shrink this down. That like I can show you like how I put together the different ones. Just do whatever feels natural. Whatever you want to do, I have no preference. Ew, StreamElements. I know. I didn't move with the rest of the world to Streamlabs. But okay, well I'll start with this. I'll start with the overlays because that's my favorite thing to start with, honestly, because that's what I do. Just checking to make sure it's in frame. I say this as I don't even stream on a consistent basis. You fake streamer. All right, but let me go here. So I did put stuff together so that way like you could see kind of like if you want to do like one of their overlays and stuff. I'm pointing like you guys can see it. That's dumb. But like you can see here, like if you go like to one of their like create your own stream things, like it generates a bunch of layouts for you, which is kind of like what I do, except for me they're like over here and stuff. But for this, it's kind of like having half your stuff that you have in OBS in here, which is kind of cool. But to me, I just find it more annoying than anything else. It's kind of like, I don't know. I like having more control. To me, the reason why I moved back to StreamElements instead of sticking with Streamlabs was because in Elements, you sort of have this like separate like little thing where you can like design whatever you want and you have more control over what you want to design. I can show you in here, especially with what I did with this one, which is my favorite one so far, is if you look at the like top and bottom, the way that the what are they called? Those bars, progress bars, whatever, seems like a lot to keep track of. Like either way it's a lot to keep track of, because what I've noticed is that in Streamlabs OBS, it's all the same stuff, except it's like having everything open like this. And which is nice, but for me, I like having separate windows. And I also moved back because I usually have Chrome open anyway, and having Streamlabs OBS open, I would have to close Chrome because it just takes up so much power. But like when I can just open this and like here, look, it's like, look, everyone's songs, like that took like literally seconds to open. But like when I was doing it with like the labs chatbot, it just took so long. So I don't know, I prefer it to be on the computer, and that way I can access it wherever I want. Like if I'm at like Starbucks or something or working, or if I'm just kind of like, I don't really feel like opening OBS, I can just like go into like the editor and like work on it here. And like I will say one of the World Cup widget, nice, I love it. Tickers is what I call them. Oh, okay, so they're just like tickers. But to me, like, because I'm such a like visual person, like when I do stuff, I need to have like I actually like visually like segment things out, like everything's in like little boxes. So for me, when I'm like working in like Streamlabs and stuff, I actually have Streamlabs open for RSS. Is that for me, like when I'm looking at all this stuff on the side, like I can't visualize it. And when I look at this, I'm like, oh, that's nice, but that's not really how I would want to make a ticker, as you would say. Like I see it like, it's, to me, it's got to be more like together. So I mean, it just depends on what you like. That's like design stuff. For me, looking at all this stuff on the side and it just not physically being in a box bothers me because I'm weird. But when I go to like widgets and I can like, it has like everything here. I like that. It's organized in different lists. You have your stream alerts, and then you have, okay, alert box, hype cup, you know, and then stream engagement. And it's like, oh, well, what's in there? And it's like chat, countdown, contest. Like everything is nice and organized, and it's like in a box and it's in a list. And like they have all this stuff in stream labels. Like that's the stuff that you can also get that in Streamlabs. But again, you're just getting the data. You're not actually getting like again, for me, it's like, it's not all programs together. It's like, these are already made. They're already in their nice little box. I can see everything that's made in Streamlabs. I mean, the stream labels. Whereas if you go into Streamlabs, okay, I'll just call it labels, elements, and labs, just to make it easier. But when I go into elements, I can see everything that's in the labels, and it has the description of it underneath, and it tells you exactly what it's going to do. When you go into labels, you don't really know what you're getting. When you go into labs OBS, you can't open up a browser source where you can choose from a list of what you want. And the list does show you this stuff, but it doesn't describe it. It's in order, but it just says total subs, sub count, and it's not like, it doesn't format it for you. So for me, this is just that's just what I chose to use, because sometimes you want like little things to be tickers. You don't want just like big stuff. Whatever. If that makes any sense. But like, you know, it's like all here. And then like goals, you can have like different goals. I do follow and sub goals. But like I mean, does that make sense for like my case for that? But let me add one of these so that you guys can see like what I'm talking about with like the difference between both of them as I turn down the music so I can hear myself think, because I'm nervous. But what I like about Elements, especially when you go into like editing stuff like this, is because I like working in layers, and I'll show you guys later when like I'll show like how I made this layout, and then I'm picking up what you're putting down. The reason why I like this is that because when I make layouts, I like working in layers because I like a lot of moving parts, because most of my stuff is designed off Art Nouveau posters and posters from the 60s, stuff like that. Like to me, that's like my aesthetic. That's like my brand. That's what I work towards. That's the stuff I like. So when I'm working in labs and I want to go and I want to design things, let me get to like a goal or whatever. Like, yes, you can change this, but it's limited. And again, you have to like import it back into what you're working on. And Streamlabs OBS does let you do that. It does let you bring it in, but it's still like in the early stages. It's still a little buggy. And I've just noticed most of the time you can't change this as much as you'd like to. Whereas if you go in here, like my new favorite thing to do is to just drag it out. So it's almost like you create a border, like it's kind of cool. And then you just set, you know, whatever goal. And then you can condense it like and make whatever kind of border that you want, or make something else with it, like a platform or whatever. Like if you want, like what I liked doing for a time and what I started doing was I would have these robots where they would have like either like their eyes would be vacant and then this like would be like part of their, like I can show you on this little guy right here if I did behinds. I mean, obviously not like this, but and then lower that down. So that way, like, if you pretend that, like, that's, like, the stomach of a robot or something. I wonder if I still have that. I should have brought that out. But, like the mind or something like that, where it's, like, you can, like, see it physically filling up. Like on this one. Like, on this one, there's a, image layer, or media, like what's called image slideshow for the clothes. And then like I can go into, if I mean, do you guys want to talk about like green screen and stuff, because that stuff's like really, really fun. But that's the kind of stuff that you can do with this, you know. Oh, so let's, like how I've done it is, let's upload a past layout. Like, let's say it's this one. This is an old one that I stopped working on a while ago because I didn't like the way it looked and it didn't match what I was going for. And it took up too much room for what I was like willing, say all the things. Oh, neat. Hello, mind game. Like, if you look on this one here, like, it's definitely taking up a lot of room, but the whole point of this layout was not necessarily, like, the stuff happening. I was thinking, like, maybe this is for, like, a boring day, if we're doing reading, or if we're doing something that's, like, you know, like you wouldn't do this for gaming, but most of my stuff or streams, like not a lot's happening. It's mostly just talking while I'm working. So I want like other stuff to be going on around it, which is why I was like, oh, let's do changing colors. Let's do the pinwheel eye. Let's do changing layout and stuff. This one just seemed too boring, but let's bring back this. Oh, that is something that you should know about StreamElements too, is that if you want to select something, and like let's say it's like all the way on the bottom, like of the layer pile, whatever, drag this up, like you won't be able to select it. See, it's like automatically selecting the layout, this thing. But so let me take this image and send it all the way to the back. Now when I select it, it's selecting the hype cup because hype cup is above the alert box and the image. So whatever's on top, it's gonna select that. So let me hide the hype cup, which it just sort of ghosts it. And I'm gonna hide the image, which ghosts it as well. So let me go back to this. I like doing this a lot, and I've done this with both my layouts. I like doing this because it shows me the kind of layout that I want, and it allows me to edit these things around it without interfering with it. So let's say I'm like, okay, so I kind of want something like that. I'm thinking, let me send it all the way to the back so I can check how that's gonna look like with it. I'm selecting that. I'm like, I don't know. I think that's maybe not enough. Let me move it over a little bit more. Like that kind of stuff, you know? So you can edit things. I'm sorry, I'm getting that picky. You can edit things while you're in here, so you can kind of see where everything should go. But now if I saved this out, and like let's say I went to here and I saved this, notice the pumpkin went away, but I can still see it in here. Like it lets you know where everything is in the layout, but like it's invisible, you know, so it keeps, if that makes sense. I'm a terrible teacher. Oh my god, I applied for an art instructor position and I can't explain myself. Maybe it'll be different when there's lots of people in the room. Anyway. And then it's kind of like the same thing. You can just save over it and then it'll immediately like pop back up. But that's kind of the way that I started getting into working on like layouts and stuff. And I have a new one that I'm going to be working on. That one's going to be fun. I'm learning. It's fine. Just some other like miscellaneous things about Elements is that they have like extra stuff down here where you can just add sort of trash to your layout if you want. I never use this stuff, but I always think it's really cute. I really want Halloween to come back, can you tell? But like again, usually I use this layout to get all my alerts exactly where I want them. I turn off the snap thing if it's like not working, and I can zoom out as much as I want, and I just sort of like, okay, do I want this here? Do I want that there? Figure out the alerts. Usually I'll like test a bunch of alerts with the sound off. If I have OBS open, otherwise you'll hear it like echoing a million times. But that's how I've been doing it. Maybe it would, let me sign into the other one real fast. If I can. Or is it just gonna connect with Twitch? Because if I can sign in to the other one, no, it's just it wants me to connect with Twitch. It's just kind of like, we know you're logged into Twitch and you're streaming, so we're just gonna send you straight to the RS community. I'm like, darn it. But I did, that's what I did with, that's what I did with this one. It's got that same overlay where it's ghosted in the background, and I just took what was here, put it in here, and then I went and I aligned all these things the way I wanted them to, just try and make it match the layout that I had. Same with this one, which changed a couple times, but like you can see there's like a little bar there that's got like notes and stuff, like of things that have happened in the channel. Like that, I brought it into Elements. I put in just a JPEG of just a rough of what the layout is going to be, and then I started aligning all these guys to, like, let's say it's like, oh, I want this to be the actual banner now here, and that's gonna like go behind, and like you have to think of it in layers, because then you save this out, that's gonna be brought in as a browser source in OBS like this. Oh, so here you go. This was what it looks like in OBS. So this is the imported browser source from StreamElements. So in StreamElements, if I went in, I would see the ghost of the layout, but when it exports, you don't. So I've just repeated myself like 8 times. But I mean, hopefully that makes sense. And then going into the layers thing. I mean, obviously, it's not all this complicated, but this is how I made this one. And so the layout is actually made of several individual image layers as opposed to one big template image. Yes. Yeah, like I would like think of when you're making a layout, think of it as like here, like layers in Photoshop, you know, the way you have it set up, you know. And the more cool stuff you want, and the more cool stuff that you want planned out to happen and everything, you need to think of, okay, where's that gonna go? How is that gonna interact with everything? What are the limitations of the services I'm using? Like with StreamElements, you can't turn the cup once you have it, you know? Like if you're using Streamlabs, yes, you can turn the cup because you're importing the cup as a separate browser source. But in StreamElements, you can't do that. If you have too many different overlays and you keep bringing them into OBS, and you always have to, let me show you. You always have to turn off the like shutdown resource when not visible. You have to do that, because if you don't do that, then you're gonna hear your alerts echoing a million times, especially if you have separate overlays that are all being used at the same time. Like let's say, like I have this one, and then I have like the Technicolor one. Those are 2 separate overlays, and the alerts on those will both go off if I have OBS open. So you have it so when you have one layout activated, it turns off the alerts in the other window. Like that's why for like a while, I was like, why are my alerts echoing? I don't understand. That's what that is. You know. And again, with like the Technicolor layout that I was working on, like I had to think of it in layers. Like when I was coloring it out, I was like, okay, what is the purpose of this layout? Am I just making a layout that I want to just house all the information? Because if I just want to make a layout that's going to house all the information that I want to do, then, you know, do something simple. You know, like like this. This is actually the Technicolor one, but it works for when I'm like filming, painting that huge painting that I'm working on. You know what I'm saying? You know, just design's not so important. But if you want to do something more like this, which, you know, hoping maybe like I give people ideas, then you need to start thinking about layers and how everything is put together. You know, think about your brand, think about what sorts of designs and imagery do I want to be using, because like a lot of people message me and they're just like, I want this, you're an artist, I trust you, so just do what you want. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, like you're asking me to like make you a banner or make you like this stuff for your channel, but you don't know what it is. Like you're just hoping that I do something for you and it's gonna look good. Like it doesn't work that way. You know? So when I was putting all this together, get rid of this. Like this was the main, like this is like all the layers put together, and I was just kind of like, all right. I'm like thinking like, say like I'm like in the middle of drawing this and I have the green screen like in the middle here. I keep pointing to it. I have the green screen in the middle because I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that's where I want the main image to go. You know, that's where I want the streaming to happen. You know, whether I'm streaming that or I'm streaming, you know, something else, like that's where the images I want to go. But I want to make it so that when people come in, they can see the other work that I've done. And I know that I do like cartoons and stuff, so it's really not impressive, and I want to do something that's kind of cool to like keep people's interest. So I was like, oh, you know what I really liked? I really liked in Yellow Submarine, like the blue meanies and like the people in Peppertown, like all the colored clothes. I was like, I'm gonna do that for her. So I want like an image gallery here. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna green screen that out, you know. And then the eyes, I knew I wanted to do something there too. So I green screened all that out, and then I was like, all right, now I gotta take this apart, and I have to figure out how I'm gonna take it apart. Yep, designed to emphasize the most important elements on your screen, right? Yeah. Yeah, because to me, like, there's a difference between how do I want it to look cool, but also how do I want it to be functional? Like this one right now, I really like this layout because it's very Art Nouveau. It's very kind of like old style Ecto. That's so narcissistic. But like, I like the way it looks, but it's actually not as functional because of the curve I have on the side. It kind of like interferes with some of the stuff that I'm doing. So I was like, well, let me do a new one. I don't want a camera on it. I want it so that I can add a camera later if I want to. I drew like a little TV thing to like go up here, but I really don't want it. So I started thinking, I actually didn't use this layer, but I was like, okay. So I made a separate layer and I was like, that's where I want the screen to go. You know, people think like, oh, green screen, like that's just like for visuals, but like you can use it for anything, you know. If you have the function to green screen stuff out, you can green screen anything. You know, this is the line art. I was like, maybe I should have like a line art layer. This is a layer called still layer, so none of these colors are moving, but all that green is going to be green screened out. And then I have that layer I ended up just not using. Then this one is called swap, so this one the colors get inverted on and off. This one they're gradual, and then this one is just to have the hands separate because I wanted to have like the little hands that like hold the cup. And then I brought it in to Adobe Premiere because I was like, okay, I need to test this. you know, I need to make sure what I'm doing like actually works. If you notice here, it looks really nasty because there's no line art, because I learned from this layout, if you can see across the lines and stuff, is like there's like a little sliver of green, because when you're doing stuff in pixels, there's always like a gradient unless it's like you make sure it's like a hard end, like a hard line. So I realized with like this stuff, I was like, oh crap, now I'm just always going to have green there. And then I realized like up here, I was like, oh no, this is going to turn green too. So when I did this layout, I just made it white because I realized that I used white nowhere. And I was like, okay, so that's going to be the color that I exclude. So when I made this here, I actually quote unquote green screened out the white, so that way I could still get this up in here. And then I made a separate line art layer to go over it. Like if you look like closely, you can see that there's like an outline of white along things. So I saved out a ping file of just the line art, and that's like the only like high res thing in this, so that way it like keeps it clean. So now there's no white along the edges. It solves that problem. But you know, like that's just stuff that like, because I like working on this kind of stuff like ad nauseum, but like you can do that for like little things too. Like when you see people and they have like the full screen and they're dancing and you see like Just Dance like behind them and stuff, they literally just have like display capture like all the way up and it takes up like the whole screen, and then they have their video of themselves, like whatever it is, like them dancing with the green screen behind them, and then that's put over it, and they just color keyed out the background. I can actually show you how that works. All my layouts are videos because that's easier. That's actually another thing that's really important, is the images that you use are really important, because you can be like, oh, I want something really high res, but you also don't want to overload your CPU. I mean, my computer's super old and we're going to like rebuild it. So like maybe I'll be able to do even more cooler things in the future. But like for now, you don't want to overload your CPU because you're streaming, and that's already going to take up a lot. And if you have like other programs that you're streaming with, like games, all that other stuff, you don't want to like break your computer by like overloading it with things. So if you make a layout and you make it a GIF, like it's gonna keep reloading each image, and so your CPU like and your drive, like all of that's gonna be working overtime because it's gonna have to keep reloading the entire image 1920 by 1080, and it's gonna be streaming that. But when you make a video like this, if you look at like how it's done here, like I just put like little, I wonder if I can show more of it, because I know there's like a lot more layers. But like if you see like where everything's moving, all the stuff that's still, all the stuff that's not moving, the computer doesn't reload those pixels. So you're actually like saving your computer from doing a lot more work, which makes it easier to stream and makes it so that you're less likely to like drop frames and crash OBS and crash your stream. But if you use something like a GIF to do that, then it's all over. There's like no hope for you. Is there a particular video format that plays nice with this type of thing? Me, I would just say like MOV files, MP4s. I just use MP4s because I just always perceived those as better quality. Like that's what I was just told to use in school, and I just have always seen better quality with them. Whatever. Oh, hello, Mel. How are you doing? Also another thing is that if you make a video and you're like exporting it, Okay. That's cool. Export it without the audio, because that's another thing that like you're giving your computer extra work to do. It's loading an audio track for audio that's not there. So it just saves space. And then when you're done with that, like let's say you export your video. Me, I like MP4s. I would also say MOV files are pretty good too. But after you're done with that, when you make a video, like let's say for like a layout for something, or let's say like you have like a really big video that you want to like upload somewhere, but it's taking forever. Sometimes, or actually like the vast majority of the time, you get a lot of like garbage that comes with it, just stuff that you don't really need. So what I use is Handbrake, and Handbrake is a program that compresses your videos and gets rid of repetitive information. It keeps your video quality. It like all of that is fine. It just gets rid of like unnecessary information, and it can take your video from being like 25 megabytes to being like, I think it was this layout. It went from being 25 megabytes to being like a megabyte, like 1.25 megabytes, which makes a really big difference when you're first opening up OBS and like when you're trying to like download it places. Like that really helps. Hello y'all. Bans Mel for nah, can't, won't do that. Hey Belle, hey Lefty, how's it going? I'm talking about videos with my lamb cup. But yeah, I would definitely say if you want to do something, like even if it's like a screen, like what we were looking on here when we were looking at the different overlays that they had. Like I would say if you want to do like an overlay like this, or like this one. This is a video, and I made it in Premiere really fast last night. But I just realized you guys can't see what I'm doing because I have the video loaded up. But it's an MP4. I have it looped, and this one is a little bit harder for it to load because there is like more stuff like moving on it and everything. Just like all the little lights and all that. But I made it, I handbraked it, got rid of all the unnecessary garbage information, and now just like imagine if I didn't do that and it was a GIF. Like it's literally like it's like pages in a book. It's like reloading it like every single time. It's like the computer has to redraw the image for everybody. But when you do a video, it doesn't have to do that. And if you handbrake it, then you're getting rid of all that garbage startup time that the computer is doing to like load it back up. And it just makes everything run smoother. But you can do it for like get back screens. You can do it like if you have like an intro to your channel or something and you want it to like start up like this or whatever. Like, oh, this is what I want. I want it to start up on here, you know, and you want to add music and you want to like add all, so when you click this, like the little scene in there, like the music will automatically start up. Like the more you add, the more you want everything compressed, and you want as little garbage as possible. So knowing what your layers are, knowing what the goal of your layout is, knowing your brand and the imagery that you want to use for that layout for your channel helps. Just it's like, I mean, it's almost like I'm saying like reduce, reuse, and recycle, except for like OBS, because that's kind of what it is in a way. You know, if that answers your question. I kind of got nervous and then started talking all over the place, but I hope that made sense, because that's like what I started doing. Because I knew with this one, I was like, okay, I have a lot of layers here. And so I compiled them into Adobe Premiere or whatever. Like, and again, like if you're doing this with like a video or something, like your Be Right Back screen, like Confused Devil has, you know, he's got like his like intermission stuff, you know, or Name That Girl has those too. Or, you know, like there's other Twitch people that I watch, like Seymour and whatever, they have like scenes where once they click in it opens up music, it opens up like all this extra stuff. And when you go to a new scene, when you click on that new scene, OBS will keep all of that other stuff running unless you tell it to turn it off. So if I go in here and like, let's say like I have this picture of Jim Hawkins, I want it to unload when not showing, you know, like if I have like these GIFs, you know, that one, or like the layout itself, like loop, restart playback when source becomes active, you know, close when inactive. Like you need to, that stuff's important to do, because if you don't do that, when you open up OBS, like let's say like I didn't do that with all of these, like a lot of these have more than 5 or 6 like really big. Evidently I have a lot of work to do. Do you know another software that can do these specific Adobe Premiere things? Not really. I know you can probably like Google it or something. That there's probably like a million other things. I just learned Adobe Premiere, so that's what I stuck with, because I'm comfortable with it. I don't want to learn another program. Satch King, are you Mac or PC? PC. Annihilator, hello, how are you doing? How's everybody doing today? I hope everyone's well, and I hope that this is making sense. Might be able to do it on Sony Vegas. LOL, fair. I like the infinity I have going on. But yeah, and that's the same thing for stuff like this too. Image galleries and stuff, like it may be small on your screen, but your computer will still load up the, like, let's say it's like a high res, like 3000 by 4000 image. It will still load that 3000, 4000 pixel, 300 DPI image, shrink it down, and then mask it. You know, that's why like these images here, like these are no bigger than where they are. The mask is no bigger than where her clothes are, you know, because you don't want excess garbage information, because all you're doing is making more work for your computer, and the more work your computer's doing, the less happy your stream is going to be. I used to be able to do it when Sony owned Vegas, but since Magnus owns it, all other Sony software, now I couldn't tell you yet. Once able to get new suite from them, try it all out. I'm sure there's stuff, because I see a lot of things go around Tumblr that like you can take a bunch of stuff for like free or cheap or whatever. I used to have like a lot of like mini programs on this computer before I got it reimaged. VideoPad is basic and free and is okay for being free. Oh, there you go. I think I have something on this computer that's like that. I'd have to find it though. That's not solitaire, which is what I mainly use this computer for. That's what we should do. We should do a game day where we just play solitaire. It's just really intense gaming. But I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if there's like, does anyone have any other questions about like OBS things? Because I'm sure there's stuff I missed that it might like spark things. Because a lot of it is like the design and stuff, yeah, but like another big part of it is making sure that you're not overwhelming your computer with huge images that it doesn't need to. And if you're like doing a bunch of stuff like an image gallery or like a video, you know, just knowing where to cut like if you know all the stuff that you want and you know the limitations of your computer, then you should be able to like make a layout that like helps. Tetris instead. I had Vegas Platinum, but my key is no longer valid. Oh. Pong. An intense game of Pong. You know, otherwise I can go back into StreamElements and talk about the differences between labs and elements. Because I have used both. When I first started streaming, I used Streamlabs exclusively. And then I was like, fine, I guess I'll move to Elements just to see how it is. And then I moved to Elements, and then I started making a bunch of weird layouts. And then I moved back to Labs for a few months. And now I'm back to StreamElements. So, I know a lot about both just from like all the modules they have and like all the things that like they use. But like even stuff that's like about OBS, like the filters. Like people ask like about the webcam. Like this stuff. Where if you like right click and you go to filters, I just have an image that masks that. You know, just little things like that. It can answer. If not, I feel like I already talked enough about OBS. If you have the cash and do not want to go subscription as Adobe stuff, then I highly recommend Lightworks. Adobe is, yeah, I have Adobe Cloud. It's subscription based, but I always get the latest stuff then, and I like Adobe products, and that's like, you know, I don't. It's like the only two subscriptions that I have is Spotify and Adobe. I just don't really know what to ask at the moment. I'm too new to this. Your key should be, it's illegal to set up the property. User keys, have you contacted Sunny Matrix? Oh, this is getting intense. Like, I guess if you were like just... I need to get some editing software. On a random note. Because just from like a liking StreamElements perspective, because I always have Chrome open, because I'm always doing stuff in Chrome while I'm streaming, because I only have like one computer screen, and I use it for music and like chat and all that. Is there a way to see if the overlays are killing your OBS? Yeah, there's ways to prevent it, and it's just by doing the stuff that I was talking about. You know, like make sure like when you make an overlay, you're making it the exact size you want it. You know, like if you're making like a banner for Twitch or whatever, you know the dimensions and make it like 72 pixels per inch. You don't have to make it super high like HD or whatever unless you have like an incredible computer with a CPU that can like you know, build a house. You know, if you don't have that, just you don't have to, you know, because they're just pixels and you don't want your computer to lift heavy loads if it doesn't have to. So I would definitely say continue to save things as JPEGs and green screen them out instead of making ping files, which save transparencies, unless you don't want like the green stuff, you know, or if it's not really, if you don't have like a lot going on, like let's say like it's just this image here. Like if it was just this image and it was just like still and I wasn't doing anything with it, like it's just a flat image and there's going to be nothing animated on it. I'm just going to have that still image with alerts and stuff behind it or like incorporated in it. Then I would probably just save it as a ping file so I wouldn't get that gnarly green that this layout specifically has. Are there any presets for the overlays? They do have like leave. They do have like overlays like already made. Really the two like I guess presets if you're making your own would be 1280 by 720 or you know just like the standards that you have, you know, like if you're making very game based, I think. Like when I was doing this one, or this one actually, here's another one that got deleted. I chose stuff from the internet that I was like, I really like this, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet, but I'm gonna save it, you know. And I started like putting things down and like playing with like what I wanted. That's that's a secret one. Usually what I do is like I'll create a layer and then fill it in and be like, okay, this is the screen that I want. And then be like, I want it about this big. Move it where you want to or whatever. Like if you're like taking from your computer screen and you want like the whole thing seen, or like figure out where the cropping is going to be if it's like a first person shooter or something. Like figure out how you're going to crop it. Figure out like, okay, like where's my character going to be and how like, do I have like a character somewhere that I can use? Yeah. So if I know she's like always going to be in the middle, like she's like maybe small and like running around, then this would probably be okay because all the like, you can just like cut off the peripherals and you can have it big. And then like in the corner, you know, like have like an area for like face cam, stuff like that. When I'm making a new overlay, is there anything you would recommend avoiding? I would just recommend, if you're going to have a lot of moving parts, plan them ahead of time. Like this one, plan everything out. You know, if you're getting someone to do it for you, have a clear idea of what you want and stay in contact with them. Like know that, you know, they're gonna do their job, but like know the specifics of what you want, you know, because if there's a lot of moving parts, you should probably be involved. But if it's just like a still image or something like that, I would say just keep it so that it fits snug in the quality like SD or HD that you're able to do, and don't do too much more. And if you can go less, I would recommend like go like a little bit less, because you never know like how much, because like once you keep adding stuff, sometimes it's just fun to keep adding things, and then you can just keep adding and adding and adding, and then you break your OBS. Like there was a time where like with this layout where I had it as a GIF and I had it green screened, but my OBS crashed every time I opened it. So like there's ANA Assassin's Creed theme. Hi all. Hello Scrumble Time Go. For creative streamers. Wait, what do you mean mind game? And for one of the live windows, you need a computer monitor with a specific software. How do you balance that with like a face cams in terms of space? Oh, because I only have one monitor. Usually what I do is like on this, I have Photoshop. So like this is its own window, and it's a window capture. It just captures Photoshop. So I'll just like full screen it, like not with this layout, because this layout is not for Photoshop. This layout is for like IRL things. But like if I'm like, oh, I gotta go check like Chrome or something, I can open up Chrome and like check it for a little bit and then just like minimize it again. It's better to have two screens, but if you just have one, it's better to just have one window capture, so that way if you have to do other things, like people won't see what you're doing, especially if you have secrets on your desktop or something. The only thing is that if you minimize and like mess with the window size, it does mess with it in OBS because it's recreating the window. But it will get it's like, again, you have to pick what's most important, what you need for that stream. Last question before I run off. Is it beneficial to plan out the way it will look, either by doodling, sketching it out before you start? Absolutely. Absolutely. Planning, like this one I sketched a few times. Can you see it? This one I sketched a few times. This was the first version of it that I was like, is this what I want to do? That's good. I do have my social in a huge print wallpaper. Don't forget it. This one is the new one that I'm working on. And then there's another one that I've been sketching out like a few hundred times that I just can't get right. But definitely like plan it out. Like be like, like what do I want? Like this one, you know, because I want to do one that's more like just like all visuals and stuff with like a face cam on it. And I don't even know if that was in screen because I don't have OBS open right now because I closed everything. But like sketching it out and being like, okay, this is kind of like the general like thing that I'm going for. And then you like start like editing it, working on top of it, figuring out how you want everything put together, and then going in and start making layers. And you don't have to make layers. It's only like if you need to. Again, you don't want to import like a bunch of things because you don't want to like overwhelm OBS. But like this one, I was like, I want to do like a little bit of motion graphics. This one I want to be like a little bit more involved because this is going to be my Technicolor layout. So I want it to feel that way. So I had to go in and be like, okay, this is the still layer. It's going to be, none of these colors are going to move. And all the green is going to be green screened out. You know, those are going to be inverted. Those are going to be inverted. These ones are going to fade between colors. You know, and then like you keep going back to like what the original, what it looks like all on top, so you can see how it all fits together, you know. Okay, I have to head to work. I'm sorry I can't stay later as I have so many questions. Well, I love talking about layouts. So even if I'm just like streaming regularly or something, you can always ask me questions about layouts and stuff because that's like my favorite thing to do. So, and I know like these are like kind of crazy and kind of weird and stuff, but like you can take like the green screen things and just be like, I want to green screen like patterns like what this Technicolored one is. Like I want to green screen patterns onto something in my layout, you know, or if you have like, you don't want everything to be a box, you know, you can do different things with it. Actually, this one, I have a little thing to say. There's, because of the way StreamElements always like, all the little bitties come in like this, and then they drop down. I cut off the box to the bit to the cup, the bit cup, and then I put in, there's, yeah, if you can see the eyeball move a little bit, there's like a separate eye thing that moves on there because I had to make sure that you couldn't tell, you know, little things like that. That was probably the most like time intensive layout, but I want to do more cool stuff like that. But you can also do it on like smaller scales too. Like if you want to do something that's rotating and just showing your work, you know, or if you want to do speed draws, like, or like little things in the corner that just kind of like show your work. Oh wait, I should be showing this. Like, you know how I'm always showing like little videos and stuff? Like I go to media source. It's okay. Oop. And then I have a folder called vids. My computer just refreshed, that scared me. And then I'll open it up like that. But you can tell the CPU went up. Let's see, it was like around like 8 before, but every time stuff moves on this screen, it's like 14, 15, and then like when it starts calming down, things aren't changing as much. It's kind of like, oh, okay, like 12, 10. You know, it depends how much moving on screen. Like if you just keep going crazy and doing a bunch of stuff, you're giving your computer more to reload. You know, especially like when you're gaming and stuff. When you're gaming and streaming, like when you're gaming and streaming, everything is loading in real time in the game, you know, and then you have your computer recording it and streaming all that stuff that it's just interpreted. Like that's a lot. So like finding ways to cut corners on your layouts and like making all those things like as small as possible, like especially if you want really cool like fire going or like highlights moving, you know, stuff like that, then you need to like make it smaller, make it more compact, you know, because otherwise like you can't have it all. You have to pick and choose what you want. Like especially, wait, let me get rid of this. Like with this layout, it's got a camera, so it's registering me, but it's all based on your computer and what you're doing. Example, I can't have the tip jar because my computer won't handle that and gaming at the same time. Yeah, exactly. You know, like if I'm using this layout and stuff, there's certain programs that I won't open or that I won't render in or that I'll stream in, but I actually won't save the file until after I'm done streaming because I know that will wreck what I'm working on. I can't use a camera and a Cubase at the same time. Yeah, which is why, like, I mean, my computer is like, it's pretty badass. I mean, it's old. She's an old badass. But, you know, she is getting older, so there is stuff that she can't do anymore that she used to be able to do. Because this computer that I have right now used to be able to run 3D programming on it, and I used to be able to, like, model, render, do, like a lot of stuff that takes up, like, a lot. I really haven't tried to go into overlays that much. I honestly feel like that's like like the one thing that like I can do, because most of my stuff, like especially now that I'm trying to like make it more traditional again, like if it's just the camera and it's just the layout, then you can do more stuff with it. If that makes sense. You know, again, if people have like more questions about like elements and like getting like stuff in the store and all that, I have like RSS's store up and everything. I will say the one like kind of crappy thing about StreamElements is that if you want a regular, you have to like add them manually. But if you like say if you like get Streamlabs chatbot, you can make it so once they hit a certain amount of points, they automatically become a regular. But also Streamlabs chatbot takes up so much, like, I don't know, every time I open it up, it's like I feel like I'm opening up like the cockpit to a plane and I'm just like, oh no, please don't crash. Like same with Labs OBS. It just takes up a lot, but I feel like it depends on like the type of computer, all the stuff that you have open. You know, it's just customized to like, I'm just gonna give you guys loyalty now. It's just customized to what you need or like what you want to do. Like, I don't know, like it's a lot of it is prioritizing what you want your stream to be. Like for me, I think layouts are cool. So I want to do lots of cool layouts. But I also know that not everyone can do that, but they can use like little things, like if they're like doing creative and they want like an image gallery of their work, they can do something outside of just having it be a box in the corner, you know, because stuff like that doesn't take up that much. It's really just like once it loads it, that's fine. Especially if you're like, oh, this image isn't gonna take up more than 200 pixels by 100 pixels down here. So make your images 200 by 100 pixels, you know? Or maybe make it a little bit more than that and shrink it down if you want it to be like super nice. But you don't have to go crazy. I mean, I don't know. I have like a lot of this stuff on my channel, like these modules and everything, but I feel like a lot of this stuff is like super self-explanatory outside of like OBS, which is like more not designed, but like hardware stuff, like putting it all together. I don't know, but if no one else has any other questions, then I can just be like, yay, we did it. We did the overlay things. Or like how to do it in here. I should probably clean this up. But like stuff like this, actually, like this, like up here, is just so much more customizable in Elements than it is in Labs. Cool beans. Yay! So, alright. Yay, we did the thing, back head popped. Cool. So I'm just gonna awkwardly just stop doing this then. Alright. I'll see you guys later, maybe, when I'm doing things. Bye.